I don't actually know if this video has an intro at all. If it doesn't, here it is. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Sat, and I've been unemployed for, I guess, 11 months now. I don't know, months aren't real, time isn't real when you're unemployed. This is another week in my life vlog. I guess all I can really say is that I am at that time of my life where I'm just trying a bunch of different things, seeing what sticks, and apparently YouTube and content creation is one of them. So I'm trying to post weekly videos here about honestly anything and everything. Right now trying to see if vlogging is something that I can keep up with. This week's kind of vlog theme is actually Philly Theater Week. So I live in Philadelphia, and currently they are running what they call Philly Theater Week, which is about a week and a half actually of a bunch of different shows, musical, comedy, performing arts that are run by all of the very many different companies and organizations here in the city and the surrounding area. And they also provide a certain number of pay what you can tickets. So when I found out about this, I added it to my calendar when they would release the pay what you can tickets and snag them up. So that was about a month ago now, I think. I basically booked as many shows as I thought I could with my availability, which is pretty open. So yeah, basically filled up my calendar for the next week and a half to see as many of these shows as I can. And I figured it would be fun to take you along with me for that. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to show any clips of the actual shows, but I will probably try and talk a little bit about each show that I've seen. I wouldn't really call it a review, but you know, I'll share a little bit about what the experience was like. And if it's a running show, because a few of these are like active productions and their first show is their Philly Theater Week show, and then it's kind of like a test run and they're going to be performing some more things. So if any of the ones that I'm going to are that kind of a show, I'll also be sharing if it's worth going to see or not. I'm gonna assume that they will be, but I'll share that information in case you're based in Philadelphia as well and you want to go see any of these shows. You might have to pay full ticket prices, but you know, if it's a good show, it's a good show. So that's that. I think that's the introduction for this vlog, and yeah, let's get right to it. Okay, so I have two Philly Theater Week things to do today. One is a workshop for, I think, stage managers. I'm not a stage manager by any means, but I'm just really curious, and it's something that I've always been interested in. And then later this evening, I'm going to see a show. I think, again, it's going to be another like comedy type show. I think something a little bit experimental. I want to say it's about kind of pirate themed something. Gosh, I wish I knew the title, but I'll add the information. But that's what I'm going to be seeing tonight, which is going to be in a further part of the city. It's going to be in the Fishtown area or Northern Liberties area, I think, which is a bit of a trek for me, but that's okay. I think I'm just going to, after this workshop in the afternoon, go straight to that area and find like a coffee shop and do some work, and then kind of just go from there. That's that. I don't know if this is going to be a useful check-in. So I just got back from seeing Pirate Queen, and I figured I'd do a quick little check-in just to kind of share what I've been up to so far. So 2 days ago was the first show that I saw, which was on Thursday, which was Let's Pretend We're Married. So that was like a comedy show. I have the playbook right here by Jennifer Childs and Tony Braithwaite, who are two long-standing actors, I think, here in the Philadelphia area. And they kind of put together this show to reminisce their long career of working together and playing married couples in a bunch of different shows throughout their career. So this show was kind of an amalgamation of different roles that they've played in the past as a married couple. Yeah, it was very cute. It was very fun. It was very entertaining. The comedy was very nice. They sang some songs, did some numbers. They even hosted a newlywed game with some couples from the audience and also renewed the vows of some audience members. So that was very cute. Yesterday, Friday night, I went to see Test Flights, which is a kind of student and local artist showcase of a bunch of different acts, aerial, acrobatic, and clown creative circus acts that are in the works. And basically, it's a chance for them to try out their routines, receive feedback from the audience. So they gave out these little feedback forms for people to fill out. So that was also very interesting. As someone who has dabbled in the pole and aerial arts world, it's very impressive to see. There was some very high level tricks involved, and there were also some very artistic. I think we saw a total of about 8 pieces throughout the entire showcase with a variety of different things, different equipment like lyra, trapeze. But yeah, it's basically hosted by the circus school, so Circadia, I think. So that was very interesting to get to see. And then today, I had 2 different Philly Theater Week things this afternoon. I actually attended a workshop held by the Humbards. They were hosting some free workshops throughout the afternoon, and the one that I joined was the stage manager workshop. I've never been a stage manager before. I've honestly never done any, what I want to say, real theater work. The amount of theater involvement I've ever done was just a little bit of high school productions, and most of which I directed for. But I've always found stage management to be very interesting, and as far as kind of roles in the theater go, it is one of the more like technical, productive, operations oriented things. So I feel like if there ever was a world where I wanted to enter the theater world, as a profession, I feel like stage management would be one of those roles that actually fit quite well with the kind of person that I am and the kind of skill sets that I have, being an operations and industrial engineer as well, because I feel like a lot of those skill sets overlap. But I learned a lot from it, despite having zero context and, well, not zero context. I'm vaguely familiar with what stage managers do, but it was very interesting to see, like, just how much they actually have to handle and how much they actually have to deal with and how much of the process like they're involved in and catching for the rest of the production team, and stage managers' roles as a liaison between the design team, the cast, the crew, the director, and all of those things is just like an insane amount of work. So kudos to all of the stage managers out there. I can see why people like it as well, and it takes a very specific kind of person to, I think, be successful in that field. And it's just very, very interesting to see like the extent to which they're prepared for anything. And yeah, it was very cool. And then after that, this evening I went to see Pirate Queens, which was also a very, very good show. It's quite an intimate setting. It was a shorter play, but it had a 3-person cast. They played all the roles. It was basically the story of Mary Read and how her life as a pirate came about. It was very comedic and raunchy and cheeky and very well written. I think I really appreciated how intimate the experience felt. It was very well paced. The choices were so interesting and creative. I very much appreciated the physical comedy and, using the actors in place of props to set scenes and to provide context to each moment and to, push the storyline forward. I think it was a great show. I have 2 shows planned for tomorrow, which I actually ended up getting 2 tickets for each, so I'm going to bring my sister along for them. And then I have, I think, 2 more shows for the rest of the week. I think one on Thursday and one on Friday. But I guess I'll check in around then. So I'll do an Oreo.
Okay. It's a little scary looking because it has the like charcoal in it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'll give you an extra. Give you an extra.
Thank you. Hello again. So today, which is Sunday, I saw 2 shows. Both I saw with my sister. So the first show we saw today was Rifter White Lies by Gabriel Jason Dean. This show actually will still be showing by the time I think this video comes out. So if you're based in Philly and this sounds interesting to you at all, I would recommend seeing it. It's very interesting. So it's a 2-person play done entirely by these 2 who actually alternate roles. So they both play 2 estranged brothers. Sorry, I started reading off of the blurb. But apparently, this is based on the playwright's true story. I did not know that. And I was just telling my sister on our way back, I was like, I felt like this book that they talk about in the story, because one of the brothers is a writer, felt like a real book that I've heard about before. And I guess it kind of is. But yeah, without spoiling too much, basically the storyline is about 2 brothers. One is convicted and is in prison. The other one is outside and is an aspiring, or eventually became a successful novelist slash writer. The brother who is in prison had to join a white supremacist prison gang. It's a very interesting story about understanding and forgiveness and, looking at their different perspectives and talking about it and figuring out their brotherly relationship and trying to be real with each other and coming out with the truth and supporting each other. But it was very intense. It was quite well written. It's kind of interesting because it tackles very specific topics. The crowd at the time that we saw the show, about a 2 p.m. show on a Sunday, I want to say like 90% of the audience were senior age white folks. They might have been there on like a group rate to see the show. Again, one of the very interesting things about the show is that the actors alternate roles, so they switch with each other, and so they actually do a discounted return ticket for people to see the show again with the actors in opposite roles. I'm not sure we're going to do that, but it was very interesting to kind of get to see the casting in the way that we did the first time, and thinking that like, wow, each of these actors embody the role that they started out in so very well that we were kind of questioning how well they would embody the opposite role and how well it would work, just because obviously the 2 characters are completely different vibes. But we were also wondering that like, well, what if we had seen it the other way around first? Would we have thought the same thing, thinking that this original role that we first saw them in was the one that they embodied and fit better in, and that we couldn't even picture or imagine what they would be like in the opposite role, if that makes any sense. So I guess we'll never really know, because we can't really re-experience that show for the first time. But I'd be very curious to see what the difference is like. And then the second show we saw today, this evening, was Songs from the Road, which is kind of like a compilation of a bunch of snippets of different pieces done by this company slash group called Diecast. So I believe they are not local to here. They are traveling around. And so they had a little bit of a set list, and they did a bunch of different like monologues and snippets and songs from all of these different works that they've done in the past. So that was pretty cool as well. That one was a lot smaller, much more intimate. It was actually hosted in like the bar space of one of the theaters here in the city. And so it was actually really tight. And they accidentally also somehow sold tickets for the equivalent of 2 shows. So originally the show and the ticket that I had bought was for a 5 p.m. show, but then they ended up sending out an email saying that it's actually for 8 p.m. It got a little bit tight, and some people kind of had to squeeze in and stand on the sides, but it was a very intimate show. It was very, involved. I think the actors did a really good job of engaging with the audience in the way that they did, and really bringing people into the worlds that they were building through very minimalistic and simplistic kind of setups, because it was just the actors monologuing or doing a dialogue or singing a song, and that's all they had to work with, and there was very little context because these were very short snippets coming out of larger pieces of work. It just, I don't know, goes to show the skill and care that goes into the artwork that is theater and that is acting. And so far, with all of the shows and things that I've been seeing this week for Philly Theater Week, I think it's been a really fun and interesting experience peering into the world of theater and performance, and yeah, gives me a much deeper appreciation for all of these things. So that's my check-in for today. So as far as this week's Philly Theater Week endeavor has gone, I was on a little bit of a break for the past couple of days, so yeah, I was carrying on with my typical dance activities, I guess, that I normally engage in on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. But today we're back on it, so I've got a show tonight. I think it's a comedy show. It's called The Best Cult Ever, and it's being held in this little like speakeasy type maybe bar. So I'm gonna be going to see that today. I'm pretty excited. A friend will be joining me for this show, so that'll be really fun. And then tomorrow night is gonna be my last show for Philly Theater Week, which is Trial by Jury. Again, I don't know much about these shows. I booked them a month ago and don't really remember the details, but I will definitely share some kind of remarks or commentary or reflections about them after the fact. But tomorrow's show has free cocktails supposedly, so that'll be fun, but I'm going to that one alone. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes, and just wanted to give a little bit of an intermission here. Yeah, I guess that's it. On with the vlog. I don't really know. Hello. Today is going to be the last show that I'm seeing for Philly Theater Week. So last night I saw a comedy show called The Best Cult Ever, which was about the comedian's experience with Mormonism. I went to see it with my friend, and it was great. It was hilarious. It was very funny, and cult stuff is always good. I grew up in a cult once. Obviously once. You grow up once. Like what, twice? Thrice? No, anyway. Yeah, random lore about me. That's a story for another time. But the show itself was very funny. It was very good. It was in this very cute space called a Velvet Whip. It's a little bit of like a speakeasy. That was very nice. She basically had grown up and been raised Mormon her entire life, and only recently, at the age of I think 39, did she make the choice to leave the church. And so the show basically goes over different fun little tangents of why she chose to stay in the church for as long as she did, and also a little bit of insight into why she chose to leave the church as well. It was cute, fun, quirky, cheeky, very fun. Without throwing any spoilers in, there's a little bit of interactive moments with crowd involvement throughout the thing, which has been a common theme with a lot of the shows I've been going to. I've been lucky enough to avoid ending up on stage at any of these shows so far. But yeah, so I think it was a very great show. It was the first time she performed it, and so I think there are going to be more show dates for that one as well over, I don't know for how long, and I do think she's touring that set as well. If you have the chance to see it, I'd recommend it. I think it was very fun and exciting. And I learned a lot actually about the Mormon church. Yeah, I don't know, there's not much else to be said there. So that's that. Okay, hi. I did not film immediately after getting home from my last show of Philly Theater Week last night because it was a show with 3 cocktails and every single one was quite strong. They were really hammering it on and I was feeling it when I got home. I mean, it wasn't crazy, but I was definitely tipsy because 3 probably like half drinks in terms of like quantity that they gave us, but pretty high proof strong drinks. So 3 cocktails within like an hour and a half was great value to come along with a show. So yeah, but that show, it was run by the Savoy Company, was actually kind of like a hybrid cabaret. So the title of the show was Trial by Jury, which was a performance of Trial by Jury by Gilbert and Sullivan, I think. The first 2 acts, so there was a 3-part show. The first 2 acts were more cabaret style, where their performers performed individual pieces and songs from a bunch of different shows. But yeah, it was very more operatic. I guess that might just be the style that this company does, but it was very, very interesting. And yeah, the singing, the music was absolutely beautiful. It was in this like massive church. The acoustics were absolutely beautiful, paired with the kind of singing that they were doing. So yeah, it was very nice, and I did really enjoy it. On another note, I guess I should be concluding this vlog. Yet again, I don't know how to conclude a vlog. If you're still watching, thank you so very much for watching. And if you would like to see more, please subscribe to this channel and like this video and leave a comment if you so kindly would like to. Tell me about your favorite theater show or musical or your favorite live entertainment of choice. And yeah, let's hang out and chat in the comments. But I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. See y'all next week.